So, are you looking for a new pair of golf shoes in 2024? Well, I've got one of the biggest releases of the year in my hands here. Now, let's take a closer look. So FootJoy Pro SLX. Now I've got a carbon model here in front of me, and I just want to start by talking a little bit about Pro SL as a whole. Now, the first FootJoy Pro SL shoe came out back in 2016, 8 years ago. And since that year, it's been FootJoy's #1 shoe. And you know, arguably Pro SL itself has become its own kind of franchise, its own kind of brand. It's been so successful on tour, so successful in the amateur game. We've seen so many different iterations of this shoe. This is the one it's kind of got to today. Now, to test these shoes, I first started by getting custom fitted directly with FootJoy on what they call a volumental FJ Fit Lab. It's like a giant weighing scale that kind of does a 3D scan, like mold of your feet, and tells you exactly kind of obviously the size of them, the size of your bridge and all that kind of stuff to spit out basically the perfect fit of shoe for you. So I think it's important to start with the price of these shoes. Now, there's a few different models in the Pro SLX range, okay? So the men's standard Pro SLX shoe is $159.99, which to be fair is a fairly competitive price point. You're probably going to get them in pro shops and retails for £150. Now, the women's is $139.99. I'm not too sure about the difference, maybe just because of the size and the amount of materials used, that is. It also comes available in boa, which is obviously the laces with the click on the back. Now, I'm not a massive fan of boa myself. I prefer these like normal modern laces. But boa is $184.99, and the Pro SLX Carbon, which is the shoe I've got here, a little bit more stable, is $189.99. Now, that's a lot of money for a spikeless shoe. I know the market's inflated over recent years, the price of everything's gone up, but that's a lot of money. So for just short of £200, what are FJ claiming that you're getting in these shoes? Well, obviously a lot. Now, you can tell by the aesthetic, it's obviously a really modern, techie look from FootJoy, but the main thing is when you look underneath the shoe. Now, this is called the Power Track System. FootJoy is saying that this kind of X here performs like a spring, both when you're walking and in the golf swing. And what they're saying it does is kind of redistributes energy as you walk, so it kind of coils in and then coils back out and pushes and distributes the weight to the outer sides of the shoe to really increase the stability, like I say, one walking, but mainly in the golf swing. You'll have probably noticed FootJoy have focused a lot on the heel of this shoe. You can see what they're calling this 3D molded collar around here, this kind of really high heel part that comes right up to your Achilles tendon. And then also this exposed heel stabilizer, this kind of strap, this like TPU strap around the back here. There's a little bit of carbon in there. That's supposed to just give you that extra locked in feel, again, in the golf swing, to combine with the laces around that top end of the foot to give you the most stable feel in your golf swing. As I kind of mentioned earlier, these are the most like FootJoy looking FootJoy shoe of all time. And what I mean by that is they just look really sporty, they look modern, they look packed full of tech. You know, they've got that premium leather look, feel. It just shouts so much FootJoy. They look quite chunky. To be honest, first impressions, I'm not a massive fan of big kind of chunky, techy looking golf shoes. I much prefer a Premier Series kind of aesthetic. But these are really quite clean looking. There's not too much going on. I know there's the kind of different flashes of colour in there. That outsole's a little bit loud for me. But overall, it's not the best looking golf shoe I've ever seen. But I would say that's more to my taste. Once I put these shoes on, they looked a lot sleeker. They weren't as wide and as big and as bulky as I thought. They were still quite chunky. You can still see when you stood over the ball, that kind of outsole sticking out a little bit, but they were nowhere near what I originally feared, which was that kind of huge footprint. They're actually, the kind of front end and toe section here from the laces down is actually really quite sleek. You do just see these little bits sticking out, but as I say, what I originally feared changed when I put the shoes on. Okay, so how did I test these golf shoes? Now I've worn these golf shoes over 2-3 rounds. I first tested them on the driving range at Royal Norwich, just hitting some balls on there off a mat, and then took them obviously out onto a golf course. I went to Prestbury, and I've also played golf in these at Stockport Golf Club. What I was amazed by straight away was the heel area. It was just so almost secure around the heel, but without being too tight and thinking that it would give me any rubbing or any blisters. It was real, like it really hugged the back of my heel. And that kind of then went on through the rest of the shoe, to be fair. I found that in the middle of the shoe, it was actually quite a wide and spacious fit. They were super comfortable. Under the foot when walking, you get that kind of like walking on air feel, that really kind of cushioned, modern FootJoy feel from the insole, that Ortholite insole that really works. The laces are premium. You tie these laces up, they're kind of a stretchy material. They've got this kind of modern feel to them. They look like they're gonna last. The tongue of this shoe, although everything else is quite padded, there's a lot of padding around this heel and there's a lot of padding below the shoe. It's got this kind of multi-material feel to it. It's a bit of a TPU here. It's really quite thin. To feel a little bit more locked in and feel a little bit more responsiveness in the shoe, you want that thinner tongue. So playing golf, the important part, I've got to say, I mean, I've tested these in kind of spring, late winter time, and not once did I slip. Teeing off from wet mats, that's teeing off from wet tees, long iron shots from the fairway, long iron shots in the rough, pitch shots from the bunker, even putting, you want to feel confident and that you're stable. I mean, this outsole really did make me feel that. I felt confident over the ball. I felt like you could go after drives, and I felt as locked in as you would on a spiked shoe. I'd be very surprised to see any golfer struggling with traction and stability whilst wearing this shoe. One little thing I do want to say though, obviously you'll have noticed here that normally this outsole that comes up on the front of the shoe, you normally just get it centrally in the toe there. What FJ have done here, they've kind of brought it up to the front on the insides of the shoe there, if you can see that. It's there to kind of stop wear and just give you that extra traction at the front of your foot. Now, on test, I've got to be honest, found that a little bit pointless. I don't think it looks too great, because actually I found that when I was swinging through, I was getting mud on the toe of the shoe anyway, where you're going to get little scuffs and stuff like that. As you'd expect from a shoe that's going to cost you just short of £200, they're obviously waterproof. I did test these in wet conditions, so that, as I said, I kind of dewy early morning of like water, walking through rough and that surface water around, and yeah, these kept me totally dry. As I say, I've only tested them over 3 or 4 rounds. I will be testing them throughout the rest of the year, so do let me know. Get down into those comments and let me know if you've bought a pair of these shoes, or you buy them later in the year, or you've been wearing them for a few rounds and you have any problems. We want to know from you. But it's also important to know that as with any FootJoy shoe, you do get that 1-year waterproof warranty. When playing in these shoes, and I found this with other Pro SL models sometimes in the past, I just get a slight snagging here, slight snagging on the outside of my right foot as I'm kind of walking up hills. I mean, it only happened for the first 3 or 4 holes on test, I will say. Now, the Pro SL that I still choose to wear is the original Pro SL Carbon. Now, as you can see, I've had these for 4 years now. I think these came out in 2020. They're still in pretty good condition, but these, I think, set the benchmark for Pro SL. These were the first carbon shoe. These were the first with a real like locked in heel. I still love these shoes. I wear them in winter. As you can see, they're a little bit scuffed on the front, and you know, they've obviously got wear marks on them, but they've lasted me. I've worn them in all types of different conditions. Now, the other Pro SLs are the standard Pro SL from the same year, 2020, and again, I think these were the best standard Pro SL shoes. And what I would say is here, this is just where I want to show you the comparison, is kind of the outsole there. You can see the difference in depth of the outsole. This one, that really high, kind of chunky, and this just that little thinner. What I like about it is you just feel a little bit lower to the ground. Now, in a spikeless shoe, I think that's something that you want. It's certainly something that I want. In a spikeless shoe, I like to feel quite low to the ground in the golf swing. Now, I think in these more modern shoes, yes, you get more traction. Yes, you probably get more comfort. Yeah, these are probably one of the comfy shoes I've ever worn. But you're just that little bit higher off the ground. And me certainly being tall, I find that sometimes it can just throw your balance off slightly, ever so slightly. So I do just prefer that lower profile in the shoe from the older Pro SL design. Okay, so to summarize then, this is a great golf shoe. Obviously, it's a great golf shoe. It's a FootJoy Pro SL. I think it'll be a massive hit in the amateur game as well as the professional game. You're going to see loads of FootJoy athletes wearing these because they are just so stable and so comfortable, and they'll just work. As I say, I'm not massively sold on the look, especially of this carbon design. My favourite in the line though, looks wise, is the all black Pro SLX Carbon. And I think that'll be a massive hit. If I was to pick my favourite, that would probably be it looks wise. In terms of price, $189.99 makes these a very expensive shoe. Doesn't mean the top of the line, there are other more expensive shoes out there. I would say that a lot more golfers might just go for the Pro SLX standard model. There's not a huge amount of difference. You do get a bit more locked in feel. It is a bit more stable, yes. But with that £30 different, I think a lot more golfers are gonna go for the standard model. I probably would, but it'd be interesting to see. Again, like I say, get into those comments and let me know which model you prefer, carbon or not carbon. So that's it, my review of the new FootJoy Pro SLX Carbon golf shoes. If you want to find out more about these shoes, head over to golfalot.com as usual to see my full written review. Thank you very much for watching and subscribe for more.